Welcome, Smutters, to the Sibsreadsmut podcast. I'm Ned.
I'm Helen. Maybe.
Maybe. Gird your loins and prepare thyselves, because it's smut time. For those just tuning in. For those just tuning in, this is a podcast where we read, rate, review, and tell yucks about our favorite dirty romance books. If you're liking our stuff, go and hit that like, rate, subscribe. Every little bit helps. Helen is fingering the camera. And if you have book suggestions and or questions, reach out on the socials at Sibsreadsmut on Instagram and TikTok, or email us at sibsreadsmut@gmail.com. On today's podcast, very special podcast, we will be discussing A Not So Meet Cute by Meghan Quinn. It is spicy. And spoiler alert, we will be talking about these books in full. Beginnings, endings, twists are all fair game. So if you haven't read the book, it was funny and good.
Yeah.
And you know, I think we can spoiler alert our own episode and say recommend. But Helen has a brief summary of the book to share with all youths.
Yins. All right, you gotta rep Pittsburgh. All yins. All right. LA mating call. I heard it. All right. So, A Not So Meet Cute by Meghan Quinn. Lottie just got fired, and to solve all her problems, she starts trolling around the flats of Bev Hills for rich dick. Huxley is a billionaire with a lying problem who's in desperate need of a fiance and baby mama. Insert his penis and a business deal to fake date, and surely it's a recipe for hot boning and big feelings.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that's pretty much all of it.
Yeah, there we go. That's the whole book. Good luck.
Yeah, well, and as we were talking about before hitting record on this podcast, I had mentioned last week that neither of us had read this one before.
Drama.
I know, and I have, and not only have I read this one, I've read the entire series. So, there's 3 books in this series about the 3 billionaire brothers, and I have read them all.
Huxley is a liar, and so are you. Can you believe? Do you relate to Huxley like now that you've lied to our entire fan base and the entire world? Really, this is an international podcast.
Yeah. All 49 subscribers.
You have told a falsehood, and you have to pay. So, just like Huxley does in this book.
Have to pay.
You have to pay $1 billion.
One cover watch was why I was confused, because the cover that we have on the library is not the cover that I remember from this series, which was what I don't like is just some hot stud leaning back on a couch is what I knew the cover as, but the version we have on the library is just the words, it's just the title on the front. Yeah.
Very cutesy.
So very confusing. Guess which one I prefer. The
hot dude.
Wrong.
Oops.
Whoopsie. And this book's dual perspective, which we love, and that's always nice. And I like the cutesy title, the Not So Meet Cute, and their play on running into each other and everything else. What were your impressions of the title relating to the content? Because that to me was a fun kind of twist.
So it was actually a line from the book. So at some point, I think, and at the end, basically, when Huxley's coming clean, spoiler, about this whole thing, he says to either he says it or his business partner says it, of like, oh, it sounds like it was a not so meet cute. Or I think he said like it was a meet cute but not. And so, I thought it described things perfectly. I really liked. Ned's yelling at me over chat for tapping the table, and I didn't even tap. I was literally putting my hand down. I guess these old meat fingers are so heavy and thick.
Your sausage hands.
That is so rude. How dare you? I am just laying my hand upon
beefy.
I I am just trying to lay my beefy links on this this wooden tabletop, and you are yelling at me.
My hot links on this tabletop. Well, I like the kind of twist on the meet cute and all the how did you meet questions, all that kind of stuff, and they bring it up as well. Yeah, a couple times throughout the book, because once Huxley and Lottie, get together in this business deal, fake dating, which we'll get to in a second, they go, well, what's our backstory? How did we meet? So this how did we meet kind of thing comes up multiple times, and I thought it was a nice kind of play on the trope and everything else.
Yeah.
But to give a little background of the story, Lottie, as the story starts, is in the midst of getting fired by her frenemy best friend kind of, and she's firing her so that she can pay someone else less money and not have to
job.
Yeah. And so she is getting fired, and her sister, which Kelsey that's a great banter, great relationship and everything else. I loved how they interacted with each other, but she's telling her sister, I don't know what to do. She's lying to her parents about being fired because they told her not to take the job in the first place.
Yeah.
And she's now just trolling the Beverly Hills flats for rich dick.
So this is her solution. Her parents basically have said, it's her mom and stepdad, I think, and they want her out. She's in her 20s, and she probably should have chosen a safe job. She did not. She chose the sort of riskier job, and it did not play out. But she had been telling her parents all along she was going to get a promotion and then move out of their house. And they were so excited. They're like, okay, it's time to go. Get out. They had
we want to be in the living room naked.
Yeah. Her parents were great. And so they kept saying, you need to move out. So she is now fired. She doesn't want to tell her parents the truth. She doesn't want to admit, that she was wrong. So to your point, so she calls her sister. They come up with a plan. She's going to go work for her sister, who has an organizing business, which I loved as an organizing enthusiast myself. No big deal. She goes and lives with her sister, and then one of her solutions is, and she's trolling the flats because she wants a date for her high school reunion. Is that right? Why was she trolling the flats?
I think she's just also looking for a rich husband to get her out of her money troubles.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think she actually meant
I took it relatively seriously.
I think I thought that was more of a joke. And so her point was, so this influencer frenemy that she worked for is such a bitch, and it I think called her and was like, okay, I know I fired you and everything's over, but I also need you to come help me plan our high school reunion. And
you have a lot of time on your hands now that I fired you.
You have a lot of time on your hands now that you're not working for me.
Yeah,
so come do
you
this.
can help plan. Yeah.
She was she was really pissed about that. And then in my mind, she went to troll the flats because she wanted to find a date for that high school reunion to show up that frenemy. I don't know if that was, and I don't know, maybe I wasn't really paying attention when I was reading it. But regardless, they literally, so Lottie and Huxley, and then so Huxley's whole thing is he also has some issues in the beginning. He's trying to land this business deal. He runs into this guy out in the this business guy, and the guy has a wife who's pregnant, and he goes, oh, I'm also engaged, and I am also, my wife or my fiance is also pregnant. So he straight up lies. These are big lies that it's hard to come back from. He's single and doesn't have a girlfriend, nevertheless, who's knocked up, and so he's trying to relate to this guy and just
show him he's more human and really
wants his business.
Yeah.
And so he
lies. But his brothers keep telling him he's not relatable, so he lies to seem more relatable. And also, Dave Toney is the guy's name, the business partner's name. But he is really pissy with Huxley because Huxley's seems a little flirty with his wife, And so he can see Dave Toney getting angry because he has this Playboy image and lifestyle, in the news and everything else. And Dave Toney is not happy that he's, seemingly a little flirty with the wife, Ellie. And so he goes, in an effort to like calm him down, goes, I also have a fiance. She's also expecting. And so now his brothers are giving him so much shit that he takes a walk, and Lottie and Huxley literally run into each other on the street and almost knocks her over. And then they decide to meet at Chipotle, my favorite, to go have a business meeting.
I could not get over the Chipotle thing because all I can think about is Ned and I have a real history with Chipotle. So we used to go every weekend in college. Like Dad would send you money to take me to Chipotle when I was like a freshman. And so it was like a way for us to like hang out. And so Dad facilitated this. And I was always so late. You'd be like, all right, I'm going to pick you up outside your dorm at 11 or whatever. And I would like stroll out at like 11:30 because you'd call my phone, I'd be hungover. And so you started lying to me, like I will be at your door at 10:30, and then by 11 you'd pull up and I'd be coming out and it'd be like, okay, that worked out great. And then we went to Chipotle, and you would always get one burrito for then and one burrito for later, and I believe you still do that, right? And
correct.
I don't and then like I just have such visceral memories. Like there was no Chipotle in, how do you say it too? You say it wrong.
Chipotle.
You know the L comes after the T.
Don't care. I give them enough money. I can say it however the fuck I want to.
Anyway, Chipotle. Chipotle is what I'm supposed to say. Anyway, all I could think about was the gastrointestinal issues that these two people were going to have after Chipotle. Like, just the absolute mondo dump. Like, the weight and the girth of a turd after a Chipotle dinner is just, like, straight to the bottom. Like, sunk as fast as possible. I don't know what shit comes out of your butt after Chipotle, but it is not pretty.
Spray like Daffy Duck after a glass of water.
That is not a place that I would be like. And I will say, Ben and I also have, my husband and I have, I think we order from Chipotle twice a week, maybe. Like, it's a common occurrence around here, but I'm not trying to impress him. Like,
the magic's dead.
I like cannot even fathom being like, oh yes, we want to go on a date. Let's go to Chipotle. Because you just vomit out of your butthole all night. I don't know. Maybe not everybody has as bad of a butthole as we do, but.
Well, as she's walking around the Bev Hills, there's some great lines. She was walked by, and a homeless man just tells her to go buy some pantyhose because she has bare legs, and she spills her mint green ice cream all down the front of herself, and she's having this bad day, but there's a lot of great kind of bantery stuff, and as we go, so they meet at this Chipotle to decide if they can work together. And he said, pretty much is like, we're going to drop a contract. I need you to pretend to be my fiance and baby and knocked up, and you need to be from Georgia, and you need to be from Georgia,
I forgot about the Georgia piece.
Yeah, and you need to know all this stuff, and you got to keep it all quiet, whatever else. And they go over this, whatever else, and she goes in. She first initially turns him down, and he shows up to her house and like pitches the mom and talks about that. And I mean, it's pretty crazy. Like the links.
What did
that
he
he's
say to the mom though? Because she was lying to the mom, right? Like she had. What did she say?
Well, yeah, he's holding that over her head as like I can tell your mom that you're unemployed and whatever else, kind of like almost blackmailing her into doing this. And the Kelsey, when they're going to Chipotle, I love this line too. The sister is convinced that Lottie's going to be killed by Huxley, and Lottie goes, "No one is going to get killed in a place where they charge extra for guac." And Kelsey's like,
So
"What does
upset.
guac have to do with this? Like, why are we even talking
Honestly,
about the guac?"
Guac had a lot to do with it. I loved that little scene where they actually get to Chipotle and she's ordering. She's like, well, if he's a fucking billionaire, I'm going to get guac. And that was like her big stick it to him. And then she was like, I can't believe he didn't even get guac. He can afford it. And he barely got guac. He didn't even get any guac. She was like so offended that he.
Well, and then she just takes the chips like off the
she
table.
takes the chips and goes home.
And goes home, and he's like, "I wanted to eat those later."
I wanted those.
You
I got
know
those
that
for myself. That was very funny.
Well, and she's super creeped out because he sends flowers to the house because she turns him down. She gets weirded out towards the end of the meeting, and then he just shows up. And Dave Tony calls and they set up a dinner so that the fiancés can meet and everything else. And he's asking about food allergies and stuff. And Hux is playing a dangerous game, but he's like, I need to get her on board. Like I need her to do this. So he shows up playing dirty to her house and talks about the mom, and they have Sundays. You know, they have like they have like a little Sunday bar because Jeff is lactose intolerant and he's out of the house, so they're having ice cream sundaes, and he's just like charming the mom and everything else. And I think the mom knows who he is, and Lottie has no
he's
idea.
Famous, right?
Yeah.
I mean, like they're known
He's a
about
famous
town.
Playboy billionaire, yeah.
Yeah. And it's Huxley Kane. And so Cane is the last. And there's the three. So the Kane brothers, they each get a book. But Huxley's also an interesting name. She calls him Hux when they're boning.
Yeah, I typed Hux too because throughout this whole thing because I was like, Huxley's a mouthful to type. You know, 100.
Lottie would agree with you.
Yeah, 108 times during this whole fucking thing. But so they come up with this business deal where he's gonna like pay off her student loans. He's going to be her fake date or be her real date to the reunion, so that she can show up. Angela, the frenemy queen bee, taint bag, and then she gets other stuff too. He's like gives her use of a car and other like swag, and her inability to read the contract once he put it in front of her, and they keep going, this is laid out in the contract. She's like, I didn't read the contract. It was pretty funny. And he gets her all these clothes and everything else, and they genuinely almost don't even like each other at the beginning, but
they bicker. And of course they're bickering, so you're like, oh, they're gonna fall in love. I mean, it's a romance novel, like they're, But yeah, I liked the banter between them because they like picked at each other, and he would, I don't know, that was fun to read. It definitely was like they were not like besties. So
yeah.
What I enjoyed,
when they're to that point when they're at the dinner with Dave Tony, she rubs his shoulder walking by and just goes, "I hate you." It just made me laugh so hard. And,
I could see it in a movie happening. Like it was just written so well. And then like the whole dinner, and then when she was like being really like cutesy with him, it was just kind of awkward.
She's like, well, I want to, they seem like the perfect couple, but she's like, I want to talk about the stuff I want to talk about. And he's like, well, what do you want to talk about? She's like, my suction cup dildo that I use in the shower. And he's like, you cannot talk about that. I also was like, you must have been in, lady porn heaven with all the house, talk and house architecture and stuff and whatever. I was like, that's house porn for Helen for sure.
The the upstairs deck.
Yeah.
Deck, a big deck.
Yuck. I don't like that accent at all.
It's got a giant rooftop deck.
Yuck. And so she she's gonna live with the sister, but Huxley shows up and goes, "You both can't fit in this apartment. Like this is not gonna work.
Studio, yeah.
You're gonna come live with me in my 7-bedroom mansion. Whatever. Like you can be all the way." And when they show up, all of her stuff is unpacked for her, and her dildos are just lined up on the dresser. It made me laugh. It made me laugh so hard.
She's like, they unpacked for me. And she runs upstairs, and all of her dildos are lined up, and then all of her other clothes are like thrown away. They were like,
he put her real clothes in storage and bought her an entirely new wardrobe.
He's like, you can't
which
wear
was
those.
funny.
You're not a billionaire's girlfriend in those.
Yeah,
clothes.
well, and the
That's
like
the dream.
The sleep clothes and everything else. So he's like, there's some. They start with the not so polite eye fucking around this time, and it's we're not even halfway through the book yet, and
When do the questions come up? Like at some point she is like yelling at him, and she's like, you are so closed off. There's like, we can't even, like, we're not even friends. We're supposed to be dating, and I don't even feel like I can be your friend. You're so like closed, like you're super cutesy in front of this business guy, Dave, whatever. But when it's just us, you're like silent and so hard to get to know.
That starts. I think that starts after the first fingering. I don't think that they.
Well, okay.
It takes a little bit to get there, but they have, because they have at least 2 dates with Tony and Ellie before before they kind of get so pissed at each other that they're just like they're forced to start touching each other sexually, and it's like they're prepping. Well, and the other like flip side of this coin too is that Kelsey and Lottie are preparing a presentation for the Kane brothers for the organizing business, and to potentially get them as an account, which would be a multi-million dollar contract for them, and Lottie is so in her head about dealing with Huxley and everything else that she just full on blows this meeting and absolutely ruins it for the sister. And so the sister's pissed. She's pissed at herself. She's pissed at Huxley. The sister did not tell her that they were pitching to the Kane brothers either.
I think
so. She's completely out, taken aback.
I thought she knew that it was them.
No.
But she didn't know that Huxley's brothers knew that she was the fake girlfriend. So when she walked in, she was so like shaken up by the fact that like Huxley was there and these were his business partners, is all she really knew. And she was like, oh my God, I have to be his girlfriend in front of them. I don't know, so she's like being as awkward as possible. Like, oh, hey, sweetie. And like sits on his lap, and like, it's super awkward for everyone involved. And yeah, she blows the pitch. And then he's like, well, I'm out of time. So gotta go.
Yeah, well, and that was like the first instance of, oh, he has a heart, because he does have an emergency, and he sends, and the sisters have to leave because he's out of time, and she just kind of assumes the worst about him, and he's actually dealing with like a pretty big emergency, and he's helping his employees, and he's making sure that they're taken care of. There was a fire in one of their New York properties, and he's like getting them.
But you don't know that till later. Like you find out he has a heart. Not pretty late.
No, we find out about that right away during his perspective, because his brothers ask what's going on, and he says, oh, well, I was making phone calls. I called every single employee. I talked to the families. I talked to whatever. We find out about that right away. She doesn't find that out for another like 20% or so. Because the assistant tells Kelsey, and Kelsey then tells her, about that, and it's not that much farther down the line. But so they're angry and they're pissed off at each other, and Lottie's just pissed in general, which leads us to 40% in. Takes 2 to finger tango, aka finger licking good. She runs away from the dining room table, and he just like pins her to the wall, in the hallway upstairs, and she calls him attractive. There's a lot of nipple talk. He's like edging himself with her robe, and some light fingering and clit flicking, and it was pretty spicy. It was.
Mm-hmm.
And
it was.
and also kind of, like he's just not asking, and then flips her around, and it was there was a lot there, and I don't know if the power dynamic wise, I was like, I don't know, but she's a pretty dirty girl herself, so I mean, everyone seemed into it.
Yeah. There was consent. There was definitely consent.
And
kind of.
Well, unlike down the line when they finally have sex for the first time or whatever, he just full on just cock blasts her and shoots off inside of her, and they don't even have a condo conversation at all, and she's like, oh, afterwards she's like, oh, by the way, I'm on the pill. He's like, yeah, I assumed you were because you didn't say anything, and it was like, wow, that was
quite the assumption for a fucking billionaire. Like, she's like, I'm not trying to trap you, and he was like, I wouldn't think you were, and I feel like maybe it was being written as like, okay, he really trusts her, and he's like showing that, but I was like, he's a fucking idiot.
Yeah,
like,
that was wild.
That's just not smart. You read about like people who aren't billionaires, but like athletes or whatever, who are much more like protective of their spunk. Like, it's not
protective of their spunk.
I was just not expecting it out of him. But.
Well, and then Lottie finds out right after that about the emergency call, and she feels like a real dickhole, about assuming that he's the worst. And and she then, to apologize to the sister, did a lot of work on the website, and is really trying to help the business take off. And she started reaching out to people about product, creating their own product line and partnerships, and she's really like trying to show her sister, sorry, I fucked everything up for us. But they go to the Dave, Tony, and Ellie invite Huxley and Lottie to a Lamaze class, and and in the car they have a conversation where they're talking about rashes and barnyard. And he's like, well, you were making those barnyard sounds last night in front of the driver, because they have to like act together. Yeah. Because he doesn't know which of his employees he can trust. So he's like, did you get that rash? She tells him, did you get that rash taken care of? He's like, yes, honey. He's like, how's your yeast infection? And she's like, oh, so good. And then he was like, you were making those barnyard sounds last night. I was laughing out loud during that scene. Yeah. And they get there and they have this weird Lamaze teacher. And that leads me to 48% right? In pulsing penile pogoing. The Lamaze class is where they pretty much just dry hump in the middle of all these other couples.
The instructor makes them dry hump.
Yeah.
Like,
right? It's not their idea. Yeah, they're like, remember the moment of conception. Remember how you got together, and the lots of just dirty grinding and boners and Dave stands up at the end with a massive erection, and he's like right next to them. And he's like, I could have lived the rest of my life with never seen Dave's erect penis.
Yeah, but it was just like punching through his pants. Huxley was just like, what the fuck is going on? Like,
yeah, what are we doing here?
Partner's like penis, and it was just, and the instructor was like very crunchy, very weird, and like was like, feel the baby, because I guess it was the Lamaze class, but it was also for people who were like trying to get pregnant. Don't get me started on like you at one point.
Is that what your classes were like, Helen?
I was gonna say, you texted me and you were like, oh my God, is this what you like went through? And I was like, I like reading it. Read it after you did, and I was like, what the fuck? I was like, first of all, a Lamaze class, there aren't people who are not pregnant going to a Lamaze class. Like, that's just not, you're not there to like feel the vibes and like try to get,
Well, when it makes a lot more sense when we get to the end of the book, why these experiences are so crazy, because there's the Lamaze class, there's the baby class where they have the fake babies, and then they have the milking store.
Oh my God!
But it makes so much more sense after the fact.
Yes.
When we know that Ellie and Dave have known that they weren't dating this whole time. Spoiler alert.
That this
they knew, and they were just fucking with them the whole time. And so they hired this heaven person to be like crazy and set them up on these dates. It made so much more sense.
This book for the Ellie and Lottie like excursions, just because.
Oh yeah.
Well, and then so Ellie and Lottie at some point go. He's like, I want you to hang out. I want our wives to hang out or whatever. And so they go to Ellie is like, Lottie, if you're pregnant, I think she's saying she's like 8 weeks pregnant, so she's not showing. She's like, but you're going to need to know about breast pumps. And so we're going to go to a store, and they go to this store that has like, oh, hello.
Yeah.
That has like fake boobs on the wall.
Yeah.
And you can like squeeze them and like literally they walk in, and the lady at the store is like, okay, so I'd love to just like get a feel for what I'm working with. And Ellie like pulls her shirt up, shows her nipples,
and goes squeeze them.
And so like, and she's like, Lottie,
you've got great nips.
And Lottie's like, no, thank you. And she's like terrified. And Ellie and this lady at the store are just like, oh yeah, very firm. You can, and like they are just all over each other. And then they go to the wall, and the boobs on the wall
sprayed in your face,
spraying milk. And I was reading about this, and I was like, this is so absurd. Again, at the end, once you find out that it was like all
a setup
on purpose, I Googled Meghan Quinn in the middle of this to see if she had kids. Because I was just like, is this what Meghan Quinn, the author, genuinely thinks like
the LA baby scene is?
Yeah, I was like, is this what she really thinks? And the thing on Goodreads said that she has like 5 fur babies, and like she's just married, not just married, she's married, and she has 5 fur babies, so no like actual children. And then another bio I read said that she has adoptive children. So at some point she's been around enough tits and kids to understand. But I had to Google her. I was like, oh my God, is this really what she thinks? And then the end wrapped it all up. But and we can talk about the baby scene later, the baby class, when they like all go in. Heaven, that instructor from the Lamaze class that made them hump, is there again, gives them a doll named Judith with one eye. And as soon as you turn Judith on the back, she starts crying. And they're holding her like up by her foot. And they are like,
and then it throws up on them and shits its pants.
Lottie and Huxley are like covered in vomit. And it's not even like, it's like putrid. It's
the
milk.
second time the baby shit on them, she swore at it so much they got kicked out of the class. And then they're walking down the sidewalk at the end, and Huxley goes to give her a kiss on the head. By that point in the story, they're like full on actually dating. But he goes to kiss her in the hair and immediately pulls back, and he's like, we didn't get all the diarrhea out of your hair. Yeah. But yeah,
I loved the image too of like, so they got kicked out because Lottie swore at the baby so much, and so then they're like sitting outside of whatever place this is on a bench, and like Dave and Ellie come out, and I just can see it in my mind of like they're sitting outside of like a grade school gym, and they're just like embarrassed that they were like kicked out, and Dave and Ellie are like, okay. Well, that didn't go well, did it? Like,
yeah.
I loved the image of that. It made me laugh.
Well, and so after the massive penile pulsing erections at the first Lamaze class is when they start the 2 questions. So he's so hot and cold with her that she's like, I got to deal. I have to get to know you a little bit, because this is wearing, all this pretending is wearing on me. So every night at dinner and during the day, she can ask him 2 questions and he can ask her 2 questions. And I thought that was a fun little, getting to know you device. I thought that was, cutesy. And, we quickly get to 56%. That's not a flotation device. She has Lottie has a quickie masturbation scene in the bath before dinner, which then immediately leads to 57% poontang salad with jizz vinaigrette. Hux
Jesus
just
Christ.
gobbles down that puss on the table, and it's like, that's where we eat. Like, what are you doing? But
He threw his big old sausage fingers on that dinner table.
Oh yeah, and the it was pretty hot. Lots of clit humming, and she just wants that D, and it was spicy. I mean,
It's spicy. There's a lot of sex scenes, and they are graphic.
This whole book
Enjoy.
was spicy, and JP and Kelsey are they do their next pitch, and they hired in the room.
JP is Huxley's brother, and Kelsey, is Lottie's sister.
Yeah, and they're book 2 in the series this series,
which I have read as well. I read that one, but not this one. So this was the first time read of this one.
But Dave shows up at the same time as the ladies are about to pitch, and Lottie knows how much Huxley wants this deal with Dave, so she's like just immediately assumes that he's going to dump the 2 ladies again so that he can go talk to Dave, but she consistently underestimates him throughout this entire book. He tells Dave, "Hey, listen, I really do want to talk to you, but I'm here. I have a prior commitment with the ladies. They're pitching us today," and pretty much tells him make an appointment. And she's like, major boner points. That totally got her. Totally got her engine revving, and which takes us directly to 61% celebration fornication. Lottie tries to blow him, but he's like, I don't want it as a thank you. You're like, I want you to just do it because you want to do it. And she's teasing him by showing off the dildo she's going to use in it because their rooms are across the hall from each other, and then his just reserve breaks, and is it technically double penetration if she's using a suction cup dildo?
Is this the shower scene?
Yeah, the initial shower scene.
She goes in the shower. This is she's like, oh,
shower dildoing.
Yeah, you don't want to touch me. Fine, watch this. And I just see her petulantly marching into the shower, slapping the thing on the fucking glass wall, and then just backing up into it. I am gonna sit on this dick. And he's just watching from across the hall, Jesus. And then he runs over.
Yeah, and then they take turns mouth sexing each other after that, and once again spicy, and they. They start phone sexing after the shower while they're laying in bed across the hall from each other. They still haven't actually slept together yet, and it's been a lot of hand and mouth and finger play so far.
Hand, foot, mouth is a virus that little toddlers get. Lucy had it this winter. Hand, foot, mouth.
Hoof, mouth, and whatever.
Hoof and puff.
Hoof and puss. And so now, I mean, once the sex starts, it pretty much, is every five, or every 2 or 3 chapters. And so 66% pool play. She just decides to nude sunbathe. And there's a lot, Huxley comes out and is like, "What are you doing?" And there's a lot of nipple tweaking. No actual sex in this scene, but she is nude. So I was like, okay, he's fine. And he's mid nip tweaking, and then just falls asleep. And he's takes a nap. And he's just he's so comfortable with me now. We can nap together. It was pretty crazy. And the other scene too was she was teaching him how to make grilled cheese. Where I was like, he's a billionaire, and he wasn't always a billionaire, but he doesn't even know how to melt cheese on bread. What are you, a fucking idiot?
Listen, a really good grilled cheese is actually kind of hard to do. I give him that. But I thought that was commenting that he's such a billionaire that he's always had cooks, and he did not grow up that way, I guess, whatever. But it's been so long since he's cooked for himself. He's just so unrelatable.
Yeah, well, and it rains, in this book, which is they're in LA, so it's pretty crazy.
Must be February.
Yeah, but she has a Shawshank moment on the roof of his mansion, and I was like, I just watch that movie. Well, because she's like arms spread out in the rain while
wants
it's raining.
To go and feel the rain. Feel the rain on my lips.
Yuck. It's not. I don't think it's lips. I don't.
What is it?
I don't know. On my nips. On my hips.
On my skin. Feel the rain on my bad boy lips.
On my bad boy lips. But yeah, I just watched it. So I had Shawshank on the mind. So 71% Shawshank and them titties. They dry hump in the rain. I guess wet hump in the rain is more likely. But they there's a ton more nipple play like to completion on the roof, and it's once again. Hot, I mean spicy. And then the breast pump shopping scene happens, Lottie is feeling very bad about all the lying and everything else, and I appreciated Meghan Quinn writing this scene where she's talking about feeling bad about lying because people have real struggles with conceiving and miscarriages and everything else, and she doesn't want to have to lie to Ellie about, losing the baby or whatever else. I'm glad that Meghan Quinn addressed that because, faking the pregnancy stuff is shitty. Mm-hmm. And, the struggles that people have, I was glad that she interjected that little aside in there of like making sure that Lottie feels bad about doing this. It was a nice kind of like reality break from all the funny, and then going into the scene where she gets sprayed in the face by a fake tit. It's like way to bring the mood down and then right back up again. Yeah.
And Ned is, for all the ladies listening who want to date Ned, because we've been getting a lot of emails and a lot of interest. His niece and nephew are IVF kids, so Ned is very well versed on being a ally to women and fertility. So go Ned.
Ally.
Ally. So, but that scene in the nipple or the boob place,
breast pump store, yeah.
Oh my God, I was like giggling on the train to work with my headphones on. I was like, that is so absurd.
Well, and throughout all of this sex stuff that they've been doing, I keep talking about the nipple play throughout all these scenes. She does, even during the breast pump shopping scene, grab Ellie's nipples. She tweaks her nipples. So there's nipples in every context in this book, but they haven't kissed yet. They haven't actually kissed. So she's like, "Am I being Vivian'd from?"
Pretty Woman.
From Pretty Woman, because he won't kiss me on the mouth. Okay. Oh, it took me a minute to realize.
Pretend to put your hand in.
Visual joke for those listening at home. She's straight up traumatized by that breast pump shopping scene, and
I am too. I will never forget it.
It was hysterical, and so as like a thank you to Lottie, Huxley is like, "Well, let's just go to a concert tonight," and like flies her on the jet up to Portland to go see what was it, Fleetwood Mac or something. I forget
Maybe.
I forget what it was. And they go to the burger joint up there, and they're playing Hangman on the plane, which I loved. And her word was just pussy, and his was like orgasm, and it's like, right, everybody knows where their head's at. So in a brilliant feat of communication, they actually talk to each other before the concert starts, and Hux admits that he wants and needs more from her, and she's on the same page, and he's putting himself out there and admitting that he likes her and wants to keep her around. And so 78%, I mean, is their first kiss canoodling before the concert. They just full on make out before the concert starts in their seats. I'm like, that's pretty gross to all the people around you. But she tells him that the no kissing over the weekend made her self-conscious, and then they just full on blah, 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 until the music starts. And then
Jesus.
Followed up directly 79% Mile High Crotch Blast. They're
have
boning
sex in a lot of places.
Yeah, they do, and she loves listing those places too. So he gets super bossy talk. They're boning in the bedroom on the airplane. Some light spanking, more nipple play, and then like we mentioned earlier, no condo talk until after. And she just was like, "I'm on the pill," and he's like, "I just assumed." I'm like, "That's not great," and it's pretty insane. But now they're like full on dating and. For real, they're no longer playing around. So they kind of come out to the brothers and the mom and Jeff, and Kelsey knows the whole situation. But they have this barbecue, and where everybody's kind of meeting each other. And Lottie is nervous about meeting her brothers, and she just has this list of places where they've boned. And as they're having dinner on the patio. They're like, "Oh, we had sex on that chair so hard that you squirted," and that's where like her mom's sitting, and
and the sister looks over, is like, "What are you talking about?" Because she knows that they boned out there. Yeah.
Well, and we find out that giving nature of Huxley, he called the beautification committee for Beverly Hills to get them to look at Jeff's yard. Jeff's a gardener and whatever else, and he called them like a month beforehand to be like, "You need to get down there and review his yard," and made a call on his behalf, and it like made Jeff's year. And she is so happy about that. There's some behind closed doors, bangaranging because of his niceness. And then it's the one-eyed baby class after that, and it is, I mean,
that's one of the best scenes I've read in a really long time.
100%. And Dave is now like ready to make the deal, so she's like, she starts looking for apartments and everything else because she's like, "Oh, well, our deal's ending, whatever else." He's like, "What are you talking about? Like, we're in this. We're dating now." And that leads to 88% lazy morning beef injection. He just morning wake up with crotch blasting. She molested him during the night, like he was asleep, and woke up, and she was just mounted on top of him. I'm like, that could be considered assault, Like, I mean, luckily he was into it, but and then we come to find out that Dave Toney has known all about the fake engagement. And Ellie told him that, like, after their first dinner meeting. Yeah. And Huxley immediately suspects Lottie let something slip to Ellie, which leads to the low point.
Yeah, the low point. There was a whole wave that, like, all that information came out. I think Huxley found out that Dave knew from his brothers, I think, and it was like somebody that worked for
there was another business guy.
Another business guy who was like, "Oh yeah, he said he was doing business with something, and he knew that the relationship was fake, and that Dave knew." And so then Huxley goes to his brothers and it's like, "Dave knows, like, the jig is up, like, I'm outed, this is so embarrassing, what do I do?" And they're all like, "You just have to go be honest with him, but also you need to talk to your girl because she probably told Ellie and Ellie told Dave." Like, they don't know how it got there. He doesn't know how Dave found out, and we as the reader come to know that, like, Ellie, the wife, is like clearly clocks on date, like, the first time they met. Like, he doesn't have a girlfriend, he doesn't have a baby mama, like, and then this girl comes in.
She flinches every time, or he flinches every time she touches him. Like, he is absolutely, they're not together.
And they are so then Ellie and Dave are purposefully, like, upping the ante with all of these wild things that they're doing. But and
it's a pretty late low point. I mean, 90% in, and they. So he comes home and immediately accuses her of releasing the.
Did you tell Ellie?
Yeah. He's pretty fucking dickish about it too, and she does not take it well, and nor should she. Yeah. And she immediately has her sister come pick her up and just leaves. Mm-hmm. And I mean, to hit Hux's credit, I think it only takes about a day for him to, like, wear her down again. and like be like, come back over for dinner and do whatever. I don't think it took that long.
She
but
slept,
in the
she slept at go. You
Kelsey's.
go.
She stayed at Kelsey's, but he in the interim talks to Dave Toney, and Dave tells him, "Oh yeah, Ellie just knew that you guys weren't together, and we took you to all those crazy classes just to fuck with you and see if you were actually human." And Hux tells Dave Toney that, you know, if Dave Toney goes, "Would you rather have Lottie or the deal that I'm going to offer you?" And he goes, "I'd rather have Lottie, no question about it." And Dave goes, "Cool, then we're going to make a deal anyway." You know, like I really love that. And so his
he respected because I think Huxley showed up and came clean of his own volition. Like he didn't get, I mean, he got caught kind of, but like he went there and said the right stuff to Dave of like, I'm really sorry.
Yeah.
And I'm embarrassed. And, this is why I was trying to do that. And Dave was like, we could see chemistry with you two from early on. And we knew you were faking it. So that's why they sort of pushed them down that road, which was.
Yeah. And they.
Great romance novel.
Yeah, 97% grand gesture. It's the apology contract. So he rips up the initial contract and then has this, kind of sappy apology contract and like relationship contract for them going forward. And I thought that was fine. And then proposal on the roof, was like okay.
That's true. Because he ran out of work. He was like, I have so much work to do to get ready for the big reveal or like the big grand gesture. And then to get home and it's like a manila folder with a piece of paper in it. And then
but he typed it up himself.
But he typed it up himself. And then they went to the roof and he proposed with a different ring that was not the fake ring that he was making her wear, but like a real one that she would really like. And, it was fine. It wasn't like an amazing. You knew already that she was going to forgive him and they were going to stay together. But yeah.
And then the only thing, the only storyline that hasn't been wrapped up yet is the
high school reunion.
The high school reunion scene where they 99% on the way to the high school reunion, backseat BJ bonanza. They just go down on each other on the way to the reunion, and then they see Angela as soon as they walk in, and we also hadn't mentioned too that Angela was dating Lottie's ex too. So Lottie's boyfriend dumped Lottie for Angela, and they had been dating this whole time. And now at the end of the book, we find out that they had broken up, and she has some other beefcake on her arm who's already scoping out other chicks at the reunion.
Who has a wandering eye, yeah.
And Lottie just throws it in her face and is like, fuck you, Angela, and then goes, I think we're done here, and then turn around and they just walk out again.
Yeah. Huxley was like, yes.
Yeah.
So hot.
It was overall, it was pretty fun. What tropes do you think that this, because I was thinking enemies to lovers, but they're they're not really enemies.
I would say all of the forced things, like forced proximity, fake dating,
Grumpy Sunshine.
Yeah. He was
Pretty Woman, there's the whole Pretty Woman inspired stuff.
Pretty Woman. He's emotionally constipated. She's chaotic, and of course they're gonna fall in love. She's
he's a billionaire.
Heart.
Yeah, the billionaire romance too.
Mm-hmm.
But it had some depth to it too, because she has some deep seated insecurities about rich people in general from how Angela treated her over the years, and so there's some power imbalance stuff in there, and some trust and emotional availability type stuff going on, and while it was hysterical throughout, it had a lot of heart to it too, I think.
Yeah.
What was your favorite scene?
Oh my God, I can't choose between the Ellie scenes. The but the Lamaze class where he is sitting there at the end and Dave stands up and just stretches and puts his boner inches from Huxley's head, and then the boob store with this juice squirt. or the milk squirt. And then that baby Judith. Also,
Judith.
Judith is my daughter's middle name, and so that made me laugh when they were like, "We got this fucking baby Judith with one eye."
Yeah, what is she, a grandma? You know,
like a gremlin. Oh, that made me laugh. Those are far and away. The rest of the story was just like, it was fine, but standard. And the sex was spicy, but I loved those scenes with Ellie.
Yeah,
What are
so
yours?
I loved I think the banter with Lottie and Kelsey, in general, I enjoyed that. I enjoyed Hux meeting the mom too. That scene where he's like kind of charming her, and they're having the ice cream sundaes. The dildos lined up on the dresser made me laugh out loud. And their snippy banter with each other, I think, was it's multiple scenes, but like the ride to the Lamaze class with the barnyard sounds and yeast infections and stuff. I loved that. And yeah, and I want to say the baby, the Judith and the baby scene is probably of the three big scenes: breast pump, Lamaze, and baby.
Good.
The baby one was pretty epic, and I mean, we already said at the top of this, but would you recommend it?
Highly, yeah,
for sure. I remember liking this whole series, all three books.
Yeah.
I think 1 and 2 I can remember pretty clearly. The third one I don't remember as well, but I remember liking them all, all of them.
I remember, I think this might have been my first Meghan Quinn, and I was like, damn, that's a spicy meatball. And I was right. They all are this way. But we read Meghan Quinn for the Christmas book too. I was going through the books of hers that I've read, and I read.
Oh, right.
Our Christmas episode in between seasons was, what book was that?
Merry Christmas, You Filthy Animal.
Merry Christmas, You Filthy Animal. That's the one where she like almost froze to death in her cabin, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. That was also a Meghan Quinn, and so Meghan writes a great spice. She's got the hot to trot. And I love, I was reading again about her bio, and she was like, I didn't read much growing up, but then she got her hands on a Kindle, and then she said, I started to read like modern romance novels. She was like, and I was hooked. Then you could never find me without that Kindle in my hand. And I was like, this woman is just reading straight porn on her Kindle, and she's like, I gotta write my own. She like is like pretty I mean, she's a lot of books. I mean, she's not prolific, but like
a lot of series for sure.
A lot of series, and they're all great. She definitely has like a tone of like a specific writing style, but I really like her writing style.
Where would you put it? Where would you put it on the spice-o-meter? Spicy?
Well, are we comparing it to my favorite spicy meatball? No.
That's in the class of its own, as we've stated multiple times.
But every time I can't not think of Pucking Around and then any other book. So if Pucking Around did not exist, I would say spicy. Yeah. I don't need mom and dad to read this one.
The comedy is funny, but the spice level is high. Well, and what it was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 spicy scenes. Well, that's the kiss is in there too. So 11 spicy scenes. Oh, and the pool one too is technically not sexual. So 10 spicy scenes.
There's a lot of heavy petting that might not qualify as penetration.
And comments on the sex that's not actual sex of all the places they boned and her squirting and everything else.
Oh my God.
Do you know what we are reading next week?
Twisted Love.
Yeah.
Anna Wong?
Yeah, Anna Wong.
Is that how you say it? I don't know.
I don't know. I guess we better study it up for next week.
Yeah.
Get the author's name right, for fuck's sake. Jesus. Yeah, so Twisted Love is up next week.
Okay.
We it's on the library already, so we can get to it.
The dangerous part about, like, when it's on Audible or Hoopla or something, I have less fear that Dad is just gonna like
listen to it.
stumble into it. Wait, what was that book that Dad downloaded? I think it just got returned. As everyone remembers, I'm sure we all share our library cards. But Dad downloaded some book that was like called The Amish Milkmaid or something that was like, what was that?
The Amish cowboy or something, and yeah, it was.
God, did it just go back? Where did it? I gotta find that book now. It made me laugh so hard, and we were like, "What is that?" He was like, "Oh, it's good."
Yeah, and it's a series. I don't even know if he's read. I think it's the Amish Cowboys Homecoming. Was
Yeah.
Yeah, the Amish Cowboys of Montana. Yeah. There's my God. There's a bunch of them.
Now I can't find it. Where did it go?
I think it's Honeybrook number 2. I'm looking on. I'm on.
God.
I'm on on Goodreads right now. But yeah, that who knows where Dad found that one? That was crazy.
Hilarious.
But yeah, so next week, Anna Wong, the Twisted Love. If you're liking our bullshit, generally laughing, and us generally laughing at our own jokes, hit that like, rate, subscribe buttons.
Yeah.
Golden showers with praise. And thanks for listening, and tune in next week, Smutters.
Ciao, stay smutty.
I do not love that accent.
Ciao, stay smutty.
Stay smutty. As you salute. Enough. And out.
Bye.
Bye-bye.